This is VOA News. Reporting by remote, I'm Joe Ramsey. Russian forces are undertaking a massive redeployment of troops to 3 southern regions of Ukraine in what appears to be a change of tactics by Moscow, a senior advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday. Russian forces have taken over Ukraine's second biggest power plant, a Ukrainian presidential advisor said in an interview posted on YouTube. Russian forces had earlier announced the capture of a Soviet area coal-fired plant in eastern Ukraine. The advisor said Russia seemed to be switching from offense to strategic defense, using tactical attacks in a bid to weaken Ukraine's offensive potential in the crucial eastern Donetsk industrial region. Meanwhile, the U.S. is pitching a deal to Russia aimed at bringing home 2 detained Americans, AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken calls it a substantial proposal made weeks ago in a bid to free basketball star Brittany Griner and Paul Whelan, and he'll discuss it soon with his Russian counterpart.
I expect to speak with Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov for the first time since the war began.
Publicly acknowledging the offer reflects mounting pressure on the Biden administration to bring Griner and Whelan home. Blinken's not offering any details.
I want to make sure that the proposal that we've put forward has a good chance to advance.
He won't say if the deal would involve swapping detainees. Moscow's long been interested in freeing the merchant of death, Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, who was convicted a decade ago. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Find more on our website, voanews.com. This is VOA News. A strong earthquake set off landslides and damaged buildings in the northern Philippines, killing at least 5 people and injuring dozens. AP correspondent Charles De Ledesma reports.
The 7-magnitude quake was centered in a mountainous area of Abra province, but its force was felt in Manila too, where hospital patients were evacuated and terrified people rushed indoors. In a chilling near-death experience, Filipino photojournalist Harley Palangchao and companions were traveling downhill in 2 vans in Mountain Province when they suddenly heard thunder-like thuds and saw an avalanche of boulders as big as cars raining down just ahead of them. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The UN Security Council on Wednesday condemned the execution of 4 democracy activists by Myanmar's ruling military and called for the release of all arbitrarily detained prisoners, including leader Aung San Suu Kyi. In a statement approved by all 15 members, the council called for dialogue and reconciliation, quote, in accordance with the will and interest of the people of Myanmar, and an immediate halt to violence, respect for human rights, and full aid access. The Myanmar military, which seized power in a coup last year, announced on Monday it had executed the activists for what it said aiding terrorist acts by a civilian resistance movement, Myanmar's first execution in decades. In the U.S., 2 more former police officers have been sentenced in the George Floyd federal trial, AP correspondent Lisa Dwyer reports.
A federal judge has sentenced 2 former Minneapolis police officers who were convicted of violating George Floyd's civil rights to lighter terms than recommended in sentencing guidelines, calling one truly a rookie officer and describing the other as a good police officer, father, and husband. J. Alexander Kang was sentenced to 3 years, and Tu Tao received a 3.5-year sentence. They were convicted in February of 2 counts of violating George Floyd's civil rights. The jury found they deprived the 46-year-old man of medical care and failed to stop Officer Derek Chauvin as he knelt on Floyd's neck for 9.5 minutes. Chauvin and another former officer, Thomas Lane, have already been sentenced on federal charges. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Recapping our top story, a senior advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Wednesday Russian forces are undertaking a massive redeployment of troops to 3 southern regions of Ukraine in what appears to be a change of tactics by Moscow. He says Russian forces have taken over Ukraine's second biggest power plant, a Soviet-era coal-fired plant in eastern Ukraine. Reporting by